What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today we're going to go over the controls and functions for your MINI RF4 V2. So let's get to know the light here. On the right of the display we have the power button, so whenever you want to power on your light, you're just going to click this button on. Then you have the display to let you know what mode the light is on. You also can tell if it's in master or slave mode. It's also going to tell you which wireless group it's set to. And then we have the battery life indicator on the bottom. So looking at the battery life indicator, we see 3 bars. So if it's filled all the way up to the green, that means it has plenty of battery. If it's up to the orange, that means the battery is about at the midway point. And if it's only showing the red, that means it's low on battery. So we could use the charger to charge the light. So you can take your charger and plug it into the port here right underneath the power button. Underneath the display, we have the buttons to control the light. So going from left to right, we have the mode button, so we can cycle between the different modes available. Right next to that, we have the up button, so whichever mode you're set to, you can press this button to cycle up through the settings. And next to that, we have the down button, so we can cycle down the settings. And then at the very end, we have the enter button to go into a sub menu. So this could vary from mode to mode. For example, if we're on the color fade mode, we can press this button to enter the speed setting of that color fade. In the sound modes, we can press enter to adjust the sensitivity of the built-in microphone, and so on and so forth. So now that we know what the buttons do, let's go through each mode of the light and see what they do. So let's start with the RF mode, which may or may not be the default mode once you power on your light. But if you wanted to follow along, all you have to do is press the mode button until you see the display read RF1. So the RF mode allows you to set the lights into different RF groups, which is the technology that we use with the remote. There are 4 different RF modes to choose from. So we have RF1, RF2, RF3, and RF4. So if you wanted to control 3 of your lights at a time just by using your remote, you could set all of your lights to RF1. And when we press this button, you'll see this light here on the top of the remote light up. And this shows you which RF group is which if we follow along this guide here on the right of this button. So when this light lights up red, we'll know we're in RF group 1. If this light lights up green, we know that it's set to RF group 2. If it's yellow, we know that it's set to RF group 3. And if it's blue, we know it's set to RF group 4. There's also a 5th option, so this white color here allows us to control all of the lights at once, no matter which RF group the lights themselves are set up to. We're gonna dive deeper into this later on when we show off the remote, but for now, let's keep exploring the controls on the light. Another thing I want to point out in RF mode is if we press enter, then we can choose whether or not our light is set to master or slave mode. So if you want your light to work with the remote, you're gonna want to press enter to set this to slave mode. And if you wanted to close off the connection between the remote and the light, you can always set this to master mode. The next mode we have is the color mode, and this allows us to set the light to a custom color. So the way this works is if we press enter, it's gonna bring us to this R setting, and this allows us to adjust the red LEDs of the light. So for example, I'm gonna set this to 99 for the max red LED, and if I lower that, you're gonna see the red LED go down. So I have this at about 17% red, so I can cycle through the different colors by pressing enter. So the next one is green, and then I can adjust how much green I want to come out of the light. So this is the max amount of green, and we're gonna blend this into our red here. So now the green's at about 13%, so these are the 2 colors together. So I can keep on going. I can set how much blue I want to come out of the light. So this is what it looks like at about 30% with the other colors, and then I can keep going. I can add some white. I can add some yellow. I can also set some purple. And then after that, we cycle back to red in case we want to make some more adjustments. The next mode we have is the display mode, which controls the display on the screen. So we can press enter and adjust this to turn off after 30 seconds, 20 seconds, or 10 seconds. And then after that, we can just have the LED on at all times. The next mode we have is the wireless ID mode, and this allows us to set our light to a color-coded wireless ID, which comes in handy if we're trying to set up our light to a wireless DMX controller, or if we're trying to use the master-slave feature with this light and a bunch of other lights we want set up in a wireless chain. Don't worry though, we're going to be going over that later on as well. For now, just know that you can use the up and down buttons to cycle between the different wireless IDs. So we have number 1 as red, number 2 as green, 3 as yellow, 4 as blue, 5 as purple, 6 as cyan, and 7 as white. And then we can turn this mode off altogether. Next, we have the master mode, so we can use the up and down buttons either to turn this on or turn this off. So if we want this light to act as the main light in our wireless chain, we're gonna want to set this to the on setting. Or if we want this to follow along with the master light, we're going to set this to the off setting. And then we can go to the next mode, which is the DMX address/slave mode. So if we're using the light with a wireless DMX controller, we can set the DMX address by using the up and down buttons. And this goes all the way up to 512, depending on the type of control you want over the light using your DMX controller. Pressing enter in this mode brings you to the DMX channel menu, where you can set it to either 6 or 10. And this allows you to basically choose how many faders you want to use with your DMX controller. 6 channel mode only allows you to control the color of the lights, while the 10 channel mode allows you to control the color, the overall brightness, and you can set the light into any of the available modes and control the speed of the modes. Next, we have the color mode to set our light to a static color and use the up and down buttons to determine which color it's set to. So we have 01 as red, then we have green, blue, white, etc. And there's about 32 colors you can choose from. And then once you have it set to the color that you want, you can press enter, and this brings us to the strobe menu. Then from here, we can use the up and down buttons to control how fast the strobe is. So this is at level 1 here for a slower strobe, and then the higher we go, the faster the strobe. Next, we have the jump mode, where the light will jump between each color, and we can use the up and down buttons to control the speed of the jump. So right now it's at the slowest setting, but the higher we go up, the faster the jump of the colors. Next, we have the fade mode, where the light will fade between each color, and there's actually 2 fade modes we can choose from. So we can use the up and down buttons to cycle between fade mode 1 and fade mode 2. Then we can press enter to adjust the speed of the fade. So it's about midway here, but again, the higher we go up, the faster the fade will be. Next, we have the sound mode, where the light will change by the sound that's getting picked up. As you can see, because of my voice, it's changing colors right now. And we actually have 4 different sound modes to choose from. So this is sound mode 1. You can press the up button. For sound mode 2, so this is sound mode 2 right here. And then we have sound mode 3, and then sound mode 4. And when we press enter, we can adjust the sensitivity of the microphone that's picking up the sound. So if we want it to interact with the sound more easily, we can set this to the higher setting. So this is actually all the way up at 9, which is why the light is changing so quickly to my voice. And if we set it to 1, we have to be a bit louder so the light can change. And then we have the app group mode, so you can download the app for this light and control the light using the app. There's 4 different app modes we can choose from, so you can have different groups set up. And then if we press enter, we can see the code that we have to find in the Wi-Fi settings of our phone, so we can use our phone with the light. So hopefully this showed you guys all of the controls and functions for your MINI RF4 V2. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.